Check, check. All right, guys, welcome. If you join this stream later, I know nobody's here right at the get-go. I'm not worried about start streams and pre-scheduling or none of that. That's it. I'm going to be playing this for CPTSD regardless. So I might as well stream it. Streaming it fits in with the whole purpose of my content. Anyways, right now I could kind of hardly move. I am just like, my whole body is heavy. And I don't know if it's the MS or it's probably the MS, or the stuff that I at least call MS when it gets flared up does this. I don't know that the disassociation or CPTSD actually causes this. It might. In any case, like I literally was not too long ago thinking I was going to have a banner day. And literally just a moment later, I'm in this position. So I was going to play this anyways. I'm going to try to get the audio balance right. In fact, I'll do that now. But yeah, none of this is a drill. I'm not embellishing anything. I would like to capture the difference between when I'm affected by this stuff and when I'm not, just because it's fascinating and it ought to be fascinating too. But I don't have any confidence that it actually shows up anywhere near as I experience it. And if I try to embellish it or something like that, then it'd be fake, even if I'm just trying to make it appear the way it feels. So it is what it is. But I know for sure if I'm holding a camera, making a video, doing a selfie that way, you can't really tell how I'm moving around. If anything, I just seem incredibly stable with the camera. But all right, I'm gonna go to options at I got the brain fog plus the heaviness combo, and the thing is like on a normal day, I used to be a lightweight with weed, but like these THC pins and stuff, I don't know how they stack up to real weed. I haven't compared, but I'm no longer a lightweight with them, and they can affect me, but I don't feel complete or whatever. I'm assuming normally I'm just not a lightweight with them, but when this is going on right now, when I'm experiencing this weakness or whatever, if I hit those vapes, I would be like almost catatonic. I mean, I would certainly feel that way. It will multiply this. But if I'm not feeling this way and I'm not on the verge of feeling this way and not knowing it, if this is not the case, I can go ham on those vapes and it doesn't matter. I'm still functioning fine, like everything else. But this is why, like, I don't vape and drive and stuff like that, or out on the road. Like, literally, I'm at risk of being hassled just for experiencing this without consuming anything. And then the weed or the THC products and stuff, they would just crank up the intensity, and I don't want to risk any nonsense like that. So let's see. Crap, it's making me sleepy too. Dang it. I'm not going to be able to play. I'm going to try, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm getting VR and I'm suddenly I don't know, damn it. Well, let me see if I'll be, wait. All right. I'll never resort to this at home. I think I have an energy drink in the fridge. I'm going to try that. I'll be right back. I'm going to try an energy drink. I forgot the energy drink. I ended up having to use it for the bathroom, so I went up and did that. I forgot the energy drink. Let me be back. So I was getting sleepy just trying to adjust the volumes. And I wasn't sleepy till I do that, but I'm gonna go. Get that energy drink, give it a shot. Because I've got nothing to lose. Like, it's either gonna help or it's not. But I don't normally drink energy drinks or even coffee or anything like that in the mornings. I don't need it, and I reserve caffeine as something to resort to if I get sleepy while I'm out or working or something like that. I leave it as a resort to help me get through rather than something I need every day just to get started. But anyways, I'll be back. I only have an energy drink in my fridge because every day, I buy one at the local Walmart gas station to take with me just in case I need it later. And then if I don't need it, I put it in the fridge. And that's how I stock up on them, so that if I'm going to leave in a hurry and can't go buy or whatever. But they're only $1.97, the full throttles that I get. Plus, I can't hardly find them anywhere reliably. So I buy them there. And so I do that instead of paying $3.50 a piece in convenience stores in town, or pausing deliveries to go out of my way to go save $1.50 at Walmart on one. See, I can't go to some of the areas where I dash. I can't save money by going to their Walmart for anything, but when I'm already filling up at a Walmart gas station on my way out, I can save money by buying what I'm going to need to take with me, because the Walmart gas station, not Murphy's, but actual Walmart gas stations, sell stuff at Walmart prices, which is pretty awesome. So that's how I roll. I don't ever hardly stop in and buy anything from Maverick or Quick Trip or any place like that. Way too expensive for me. And so there you go, guys. See, the system is not going to hold together because you're just increasing the pool of people who your stuff is way too expensive for, rather than coming up with something more sustainable and honest and equal and fair. And there we go. All right. Now let's hear what these farmers have to say about their prices. You can read my description. I have a good farming experience from North Dakota, and I hope the farmer I worked for is doing well. He was fun. He was great. He did me right. But at the same time, I'm happy that they're fucking around and finding out that when you elect a moron to hate your neighbors, you can't count on the welfare that you normally get from the government, because they hate you too. Racists in America are just haters, and racism is how they group hate. Racism is how they make sure they're on the side of the haters rather than being a victim themselves from their fellow Americans. That's all racism is. It is literally just a chance to defraud people and have inequality be your ticket to success. It is not, people are not really so dumb. Well, your common people are, but your politicians and stuff that are capitalizing on that, the only reason it exists is not because people are stupid, it's because people are evil. It exists in a democracy because people are stupid, but around the world it exists because people are evil.
Of trade with China, especially when it comes to U.S. soybeans. And we've started to see some pretty substantial impacts in parts of the northern plains, particularly in North Dakota, where basis levels have dropped as the PNW export market is essentially non-existent. Let's talk about this overall situation.
Okay, I screwed that up. The heck?
And the need to stir up Well, as we enter into harvest season, a lot of concern about the lack of trade with China, especially when it comes to U.S. soybeans. And we've started to see some pretty substantial impacts in parts of the northern plains, particularly in North Dakota, where basis levels have dropped a lot as the PNW export market is essentially non-existent. Let's talk about this overall situation and the need to stir up demand from China and demand out of the PNW. Joining us today for a conversation, first, he's the president of the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association, Justin Sherlock. Justin, it's good to talk with you. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good today. It's nice and cool here today, so hopefully we just avoid that frost word the next few days. So.
Yeah, I know a little bit of talk about frost over the weekend in parts of the northern tier. Let's hope we don't see that. Also joining us today for a conversation, he is the chairman of the North Dakota Soybean Council, Jim Thompson. Jim, how are you, sir? Good to have you on with us.
I'm good, Jesse. Thanks for having us on today.
Well, I'd love to start with perspective from both of you on just the current overall situation. As I kind of mentioned in the open, we're seeing basis levels drop pretty sharply over the last several weeks. We continue to not have a new trade deal with China. China's not buying U.S. soybeans, and I know in particular for folks in the Dakotas, that's a problem as a lot of soybeans go out through the PNW. So just talk about the overall situation. Justin, if you want to start, I mean, your perspective on where things stand as we enter harvest time.
Well, from our perspective, we're starting to hear from some of our members, really starting to be concerned about where are they physically going to put the soybeans come harvest. I just came from working on one of my grain bins, a fan for the barley and wheat that's in my bins. And, I don't have a lot of room for soybeans typically either. We don't typically store a lot of soybeans historically. We put them on a shuttle train and at the elevator and send them out to the PNW right away. So, we're starting to hear from members. They're concerned. Elevators it's a mixed message. Some elevators say they'll take some are saying they might turn people away. So at the end of the day, we don't have a deal with China. We've entered the new marketing year as of September 1st. China has not committed to any new purchases of new crop soybeans. So
they don't have to. They set up to use Brazil after Trump fucked them over the first time. They don't need our soybeans.
Get these markets reopened.
Now they demand better prices. Now they can leverage us. Now
Jim, your perspective on this,
they're going to get them dirt cheap.
Of course, with the checkoff and more. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into building these export markets, and for North Dakota, especially to Justin's point, a lot of these beans typically go out on shuttle trains to the PNW. What's your perspective on this situation?
Yeah, I think perfectly to piggyback after what Justin said is we spent
I think
the better part of 40 years developing these relationships with Southeast Asia, and then in turn developing our infrastructure in North Dakota to be the most reliable, efficient shipper of whole soybeans to markets like China and Vietnam and Southeast Asia and Indonesia and whatnot. But China is the big elephant in the room, if you will. And 80% of North Dakota soybeans used to be exported through the PNW to Southeast Asia. Now with the addition of 2 crush plants, that's more, 55%. But China accounts for the majority of that. There's nothing that could take the place of China. So yeah, it's a total different shift of thinking for us at harvest this year when the basis is screaming at you that, hey guys, you can't bring these beans in. We have nowhere to put them. We have nowhere to take them. And you can't really blame the elevators for that because they don't have an outlet for them. So yeah, it's a whole paradigm shift in thinking this fall. And unfortunately, of course, with the storms we've had this summer and the lack of storage and the numbers we've seen is anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 million bushels of storage is out of the equation right now. So yeah, it's just uncharted territory for us this year.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the storage issue, Jim, because I know that's something we've followed for the last several months, of course, since all those storms rolled through North Dakota. And Justin, you and I talked about it not long after those storms rolled through. And, we kind of knew then that this was going to be a problem come harvest season, because it's not like you can throw up a grain bin extremely quickly. I mean, all the storage, to Jim's point, that we've lost, it's not something that can get rebuilt overnight, and that's going to be a key piece of the struggle here, it sounds like, this harvest season.
Yeah, and honestly, when we spoke, a while back about that, I don't recall if we even talked about storing soybeans. At the time, we were just saying, how are guys going to store their corn crop if their facilities are out of commission? And now, here we are having to plan to store soybeans. And last time when we had a trade war, that's what a lot of guys did do. A lot of soybeans were stored in those, we call them pop cans in my area, all those little 3,000 to 5,000 bushel bins on the corners of fields that our grandparents, built generations ago. We haven't used them for a long time, but they come in handy. But the derecho wiped most of those out in my area. So, guys are really concerned. They're calling saying, what are we physically even going to do with the crop? It also gets to the economics. Soybeans historically are what paid the bills in the fall. You sold soybeans in the fall to cash flow, to make your land payments, your equipment payments, prepay for inputs for next year.
I did not know that.
It's just changing the dynamic significantly, and
shoot! So they haven't paid their bills with their other crops. They expected to do it with soybeans sold to China.
If we
hating China.
We have lots of agreements with Southeastern Asia.
Very smart. Good job, America.
That we can ship to out of the PNW, but we don't have those agreements signed yet. We've been told they're done. Well, let's get them signed.
I don't know why Chinese dollars weren't good enough for you, but whatever.
Start selling to those customers. I'm sure they're waiting to do business till we have a signed agreement. I wouldn't want to do business with someone if I'm going to get slapped with a different tariff a week from now than I planned on. Because tariffs are taxes. And, they don't want to be surprised with a new business expense. So if we don't solve this soon, and if we don't get China back in the market, what could be hopefully a short-term problem that we can hopefully resolve and work through, this could turn into a multi-year surplus of crops that just is going to be really hard and lead to a major downturn in the ag and rural economy. So this is a really big deal to get these trade deals sorted out.
Yeah, and Jim, to piggyback off what Justin said, I mean, obviously you guys have both mentioned, growers reaching out to the Soybean Council, soybean growers, asking what they can do, and I know in terms of the Soybean Council, I mean, you guys have, to your point earlier, invested so much into building these export markets and finding new uses, but, again, China, that elephant in the room. So, I mean, your thoughts, what can producers do here? Is there anything they could do to work with, say, the Soybean Council here as we work through the fall months, Jim?
I guess I look at the Soybean Council as maybe a source of information and resources for producers who are looking for connections to, any type of idea or solution that, maybe we can be a bridge to. And we're always open to that. We've always got our ears open, and our staff is really fantastic at digesting news every day that they're hearing and passing it on to us so that we can talk to our, the people that we represent from our districts. And, to put it in perspective, how important China is for us as a whole, we are the fourth largest state for producing in planted and harvested acreage of soybeans, and the eighth largest producer bushel-wise for soybeans. I mean, we're not just a dot on the map. I mean, we are a major producer. So something like this, when we depend on that end user, it really puts us in a bind. So, I mean, guys are considering flat storage. They're considering putting them in bags temporarily. Elevators are conditioning their flat storage areas and even pouring new ones. So, I mean, there's solutions being made, but, looking down the road, we've tried to make inroads with other markets, and we've honestly got our foot in the door in a lot of other Southeastern Asian markets, but their infrastructure isn't caught up to what China's is and not near as big. And of course, we've got big ships leaving the PNW. They can't always get into where they need to be. So it takes a long time to build up that market. And that's why we touched on, it took us 40 years to get where we were at with China. So it's not just something that can happen in one marketing season, let alone the 2 to 3 month window Justin alluded to that we really have, which is now slipping further and further away from us. So yeah, it's just, it's just all about transparency and open information and dialogues, and Justin and I talking with our boards and just keeping, up to date with what's transpiring here every day.
Well, and thinking about this, Justin, I'm sure as well, you could speak to this, why it's important for producers to talk with you guys and talk with state legislators and lawmakers and talk with their congressional leaders on Capitol Hill, or finding ways to get their message to them. I mean, I think our elected leaders, this is something where they need to understand how serious this situation is, right, Justin?
Well, it is, and by all means, become a member if you're not. But I think for so long, farmers were just used to organizations such as ours, such as the Growers Association, representing them on policy issues. But really, we do need everyone to reach out to our congressional offices. Reach out to the White House. Let them know if you're, hey, we rely on these exports, we rely on these trade agreements to move this product. Agriculture is the backbone of rural North Dakota. If our farmers are suffering and hurting and can't pay their bills, that hurts all the rest of our businesses and our small rural communities. So it has a knock-on effect that we haven't even begun to really feel, but it's going to, really hurt our small communities and our rural banks, our rural cafes, the barbershop. Every single business.
This was self-evident, guys, before the election. This was like the path. This was like going to happen. I don't understand why they did this to themselves.
We're running out of time. Every week that we're not shipping soybeans,
and nobody will talk about the real problem, which is American people being haters
before we're
and
up
greedy
against another big Brazilian crop probably
it's the
coming
American
next year.
people.
So,
Not having
time
integrity.
is slipping away from us. This is our export window, and we're missing out on it. So, time is of the essence. Make noise.
They did China dirty, or they tried to.
Heard. Let them know we need
China
these
didn't
markets
play.
back.
Well, gentlemen, do appreciate the conversation today. Anything final that you would mention or reiterate to folks as we continue to watch this developing situation surrounding soybean harvest this fall and more across North Dakota? Jim, any final thoughts from you? Anything you'd reiterate to folks today?
Yeah, I would just encourage producers to not give up yet. Keep looking for opportunities. Keep your ears open. Always be looking at something maybe you're not used to doing, and you might just have to do it this time. And if it's something that works out, it might be something you adopt in the future as well. But be open to something different, because these times just call for a totally different approach to the way we do things. And we're farmers. We adapt. That's what we do. We're good at it. We don't always like to do it, let's be honest, but we can do it. So no, just stay positive, and we'll see this thing through.
Justin, anything final from you?
I just echo Jim. I just want to tell everyone, keep your chin up.
Thoughts and prayers for the farmers, people. Thoughts and prayers for the farmers.
Ahead, but we'll work through them. We always do. We'll find a way through it. And, you've got great folks working for you, both at the council and the association, really trying to find solutions, whether it's new markets, reopening existing markets, working on the future of biofuels for domestic markets. We're working hard, but keep your chin up. Don't get down. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Talk to your family. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. And, we'll work through this together. We always get through it. We just take care of your community and your loved ones.
Well, I couldn't agree more with those sentiments, gentlemen. Folks can learn more as well and reach out, ndsoybean.org or ndsoygrowers.com for more information.
Thoughts and prayers.
Jim Thompson, Chairman of the North Dakota Soybean Council, Justin Sherlock, President of the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association. Thank you both for joining us. Have a safe and happy harvest season, and we'll stay in touch as things move forward, and we'll look forward to talking again real soon. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And there you have it, folks. America's great again. All right. Let's find something else to be informed about.
Morning, guys. It's Thursday, September 4th, 5:24
See
a.m.
what they
Central
have to
Time.
say.
Grain markets are mostly lower this morning. December corn futures down 0.75 cents at 4 cents.
Might be a little too boring. Let's see. I'm not want to be all farm. Let's see. What else was I concerned about? Let's see. Wait. No. There we go. There'll be some more good news. The people that are going to give you like really good solid stuff on this may not have posted anything yet. Let's see. There's people that can connect the dots and really educate us and let us know exactly the grave danger that we are in. And you can see through the bullshit. The media lying to you so you'll keep your money in the market till they can take it. The people are being lied. The government, the media, companies, everybody has incentive to pull the wool over the American people's eyes until the last moment so they can rug pull before the American people save themselves. The American people are going to be losing trillions upon trillions, but our 1% will be all right. So there you go. In 2023, what? These damn shorts. All right, well, I guess we'll do more of this. This is good. This is important. They do not need our soybeans. Let's hear them out.
But less so on the soybean
They
side.
did in the past. They don't now because this isn't Trump's first rodeo.
Today's video
China
might be a little bit
no longer needs our
shorter. I gotta
soybeans
jump out
because of
today,
Trump.
heading over to the Farm Progress Show in Illinois. Comstock is going to be on a panel speaking tomorrow morning around 9:30 at the hospitality tent. So if you're around there, swing on by. It should be a good panel. I want to focus today on China's soybean purchasing patterns, I guess. There's been a lot of discussion and concern, rightfully so, about how China has not been purchasing any new crop soybeans and how that can dramatically, I think, change the ending stock scenario. And I think we're seeing some of that today where we're down quite a bit in the soybean market. And as time goes on and we're getting closer and closer to harvest, we're going to need China to step in or somebody to step in for China and buy those soybeans. But we're not seeing a lot happening there. So maybe starting out, I'm going to jump in here and show some weather charts to kind of see how the weather's going to finish up the crops here for the growing season. This is the 2-week forecast. You can see there's pretty heavy showers here in the northern part of the Corn Belt. Kind of this northwest corner of Iowa is going to get clipped here pretty good with rainfall. Large parts of Minnesota, South Dakota, even parts of Nebraska. We have a branch office out here in western Nebraska that said the crops are drying up. And so I'm sure this rainfall here to get over 2.5 inches by the end of next week should help out quite a bit. Obviously heavy rainfall down here in the parts of Kansas, southern Missouri, into the Delta, I'm sure is welcome. But kind of our primary concern is still there's a big pocket here in the eastern part of the Corn Belt that doesn't see very much. There's some spotty regions that could get an inch here in southern parts of Illinois and Indiana. But you kind of compare this to where the low soil moisture levels are, and basically those areas that are hurting the most really aren't getting anything. So the northern tier here of Indiana, southwest Michigan, and then large parts of Ohio that are struggling. And based off of this, it doesn't look like in the next couple of weeks they're going to get kind of what farmers are hoping for. I think they're areas here in the western region that probably don't need another rain. They're pretty wet, probably escape on by without another rainfall, but I don't think that's the case in these eastern portions of the Corn Belt that I think they could definitely use quite a bit more. This kind of gives you just the rainfall anomaly, just a different picture. You can see that this whole southern part of the United States is going to see rainfall well above average, as well as parts of northwest Iowa, southwest Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska. And so not that these areas over here in the east won't necessarily get anything, but it's going to be well below average and probably won't be what is necessary to have kind of a solid finish to their growing season. And I think that's a big part of why the market's probably a little bit skeptical of those USDA yields from August being as rosy as they are at that, 188.8 bushels per acre. It doesn't quite seem like we're going to get the finish there, especially in the eastern Corn Belt, to reach that. One thing that is probably helping out is we're obviously, it's abnormally cool. It already seems like the fall here has arrived and we're still in August. We have below average temperatures for most everywhere in the United States here through September 4th. But it's especially cool in these parts of Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan that are struggling. And so that could stave off disaster to a certain extent, whereas I think it would be a lot worse if it was hot, right? The kind of the moisture demands would be a lot higher versus, the crop isn't going to need as much demand since we're, going to go through cooler than average temperatures. And so that's kind of something that's unusual, for this time of the year, I think. So just one quick mention of South America, the planting season is arriving quickly, and there are parts of Mato Grosso that you might see some people begin planting as early as September 7th, and that's only a couple weeks away. This is kind of the 30-day weather anomaly, and it does show, above average rainfall for these regions. Doesn't mean that everyone's going to start planting all at once, and this is just through the end of September. Now, most of the soybeans in Mato Grosso get planted in the month of October, but there are people that do like to get out there early and plant some short season varieties, especially those that like to plant their second crop corn as early as possible. So there will be people that plant in September, and by Christmas they'll get those soybeans harvested and then get second crop
so this guy is super excited.
This is really what I want to focus on. This came from Bloomberg and is just kind of pointing out
conversation was
the
entertaining.
soybean sales due to the tariff discussions, or tariff war, whatever you want to call them, with China, is kind of led to China pulling back on their purchases of soybeans. And so I just want to highlight that
it did lead to that. And nobody wants to tell you the truth that Americans were stupid for electing Donald Trump, but Jesus is good for saving him so that we can reap the rewards of how we vote, and hopefully never be able to do that again. Have a good day. I guess if I'm getting CP, that's not going to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. There's no escape for this crap. Have a good one.